we are now on part 4. So part 4 starts with a picture that looks like this, if you can see that. So it looks like a very pompous and important woman going to investigate the school. Well, I'm going to just read it now, Tristan, okay? So, chapter 34 is called A Hubbub. Okay, Bracket Wood, quiet down, come on, Mr. Barrington was saying. Mr. Carter had called an emergency assembly. Good morning, Bracket Wood. Good morning, Mr. Bummington, said most of the school. Unfortunately for Mr. Barrington, the spirit of Mr. Carter, or rather of Ryan as Mr. Carter, had taken root at Bracket Wood. Those who were not shouting this rude version of his name back at him were making faces, laughing, blowing raspberries, eating sweets, jumping up and down, or simply not listening. Oh dear, 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 said Mr. Barrington. Shush, cried Miss Wang. Stop it, said Miss Finch. Oh, my head, cried Miss Gerard. What are we going to do? Said Mr. Barrington to the other teachers in desperation over the noise. Offhead are coming back. We're all going to lose our jobs. Where's the head? Asked Mrs. Wang. I don't know. He's vanished. He's turned the school into this and then just disappear. Free! The very loud, very high sound pierced the noise in the assembly hall. Everyone looked around to see Mr. Carter standing at the door, whistle in hand. Right, he said, we have work to do. We do, said Mr. Barrington. That's right, Mr. Barrington, he said, striding onto the stage. Good morning, Bracket Wood. Good morning, Mr. Carter, said the school, except for one person. Who said farter? Barry Bennett put his hand up. Okay, Barry, very funny. It does rhyme with my name, but don't do it again. It's not respectful. But I don't care what you thought. Don't do it again. Barry, a bit abashed, put his hand down. So, look guys, we have a problem. As some of you may remember, 2 grown-ups turned up yesterday out of nowhere at lunchtime. Turns out they were Offhead, yeah? What's Offhead? Said Scarlett. Is that like Apple or Microsoft? Asked Sterling. They're inspectors. Government inspectors. And basically they can shut the school down. Hooray! shouted Morris Fawcett, grinning. No, not hooray. And it should be clear to all of you that it is not hooray by the fact that Morris decided to shout that. Morris stopped grinning. Look, I know it might not sound great, the school being shut down. But at the end of the day, you, do all have to go to school somewhere. And if it wasn't here, then it would probably be somewhere worse. And you know, it's not that bad here. What about the toilets? Yes, all right, Ellie, the toilets are terrible. And some of the teachers, of course. But apart from that, Mr. Barrington, Miss Gerard, Miss Finch and Mrs. Wang all looked at each other, deadpan. It's all right. I mean, this is where we get to spend our time with our friends. And here Mr. Carter searched out a face. Yes, there she was, sitting at the back of the room, Diana. Best friends. There was a hubbub following this and a murmur. Voices could be heard saying, he's got a point, and I don't know if I'd like to go anywhere else, and we could clean the toilets ourselves, and in Morris Fawcett's case, should I have said hip hip? But Mr. Carter didn't pay attention to that. He kept on looking at Diana, whose face eventually broke into a smile. And that is the end of chapter 34. So hopefully things are starting to turn round at the school.